Hello Crown Corner fans, it's your host Crown, ready to bring you another batch of fascinating, sometimes outrageous stories from everyday life. You never know what's around the corner, and these tales prove just that. From the unexpected to the unbelievable, we've got it all covered. So settle in, relax, and let's embark on this storytelling journey together. Remember, if you enjoy these stories, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Now, let's get into it. Alright, so I told one of my friends a story and they said it would be perfect if I posted it here, so here I am. For context, I have a baby face, and that this establishment had security guards in and outside the building. This is important later on though, and the tournament in question is a surfing tournament. Alright, so it's last year in June, and this was a statewide tournament and my after signing up for Teen League, so you have to be 16 or older to participate. And after having my birthday earlier that year, and since I was avidly practicing surfing, I thought now would be as good a time as any to sign up. It was an hour before the bracket started because I showed up early, and they really pulled out all the stops for entertainment, with stands and shows premiering before the tournament began. And enter the entitled mother. She shows up with her son, who seems to be almost the same age as me, and tries getting through the crowd of people surrounding the building. And after a bit of time, she eventually makes it through into the building and marks her son present for the tournament. Now I was trying to eat my chili dog, and she starts conversation with me. You know, eating before the tournament isn't a wise choice. I skipped breakfast for this, so I think I deserve this Frankfurter. Well, don't get upset when my son eventually beats you. That's the competitive spirit I like to see in people. And then the conversation was cut short when the announcer over the loudspeaker officially announced that the tournament was starting. So all of the members got into the main room for a call. And about approximately 56 to 75 people were here. And then we got sorted into our brackets. I was in a bracket with 6 other people, one of them being the entitled mother's kid. So our order was sorted as well. I was going before the entitled mother's kid. I could see in the crowd that she was visibly frustrated with this, and tried asking the judges for a different order, because her surfing prodigy deserved to go before all of these people. With her reasoning being, what does it matter? They are going to lose anyway. The judges dismissed the entitled mother and told her that the order doesn't mean much. A few nasty looks from the entitled mother later, our bracket had finished. And you know who got in the bottom 3? The entitled mother's kid. The entitled mother looked furious and started walking over to me and the rest of the contestants and started yelling at us and trying to accuse all of us except her son for cheating. Every one of the contestants, including me, were shocked with her reasoning and ramblings until one of the judges walked over to the entitled mother. If you're unable to control yourself, you will be escorted out of the building by police officers. Then the entitled mother slowly looked over at the judge and slapped him across the face. Then she started yelling again, and because of the scene she was making, people started looking over. And then, only a few seconds after, the entitled mother started calling for security to get us kicked out. And oh boy, that might have been one of the worst mistakes she could have done. They arrived shortly after, and this is the conversation that follows. Police officer says, "What seems to be the problem here?" "All of these insolent people were cheating in a tournament." Side note, how would he even do that? Police officer asks, "And why is one of the judges here?" And the entitled mother couldn't find the words to answer with, "So I did." "Hey police officer, what actually happened here is that this entitled mother accused us of cheating and how we should be banned. And the judge came over here to tell her if she cannot control her actions, she will be escorted out by a police officer. And then she slapped the judge." Then after some talking done with the judges, they ruled that the entitled mother's son will not be disqualified. However, that the entitled mother will be escorted out of the building by police officers and be given a fine. And just before she was about to be carried away, she started yelling at me and shaming me because I didn't look old enough. I have a baby face, but my height cannot compare. And the police officers just weren't having it. And then she had the guts to actually try to slap the police officer. Emphasis on tried, because what happened was that the police officer grabbed her arm and carried her out the police establishment. And then instead of being kicked out, she was banned from all the franchises under the same name. And for life, no less. Well, I still had a good rest of the tournament, and I even came in 4th. But the guy in front had 2 more points than me. A weird experience, yet a one that ended well, I suppose. Years ago, shortly after I moved out, my dad decided he wanted to remodel his bathroom and hired a local contractor, who I will refer to as DB, to do it. He fixed a clogged sink for him once. From the start, my dad was extremely skeptical of contractors and did not want to get scammed. So after they agreed on a price for labor, my dad asked him for an invoice for the cost of all the materials. He took said invoice to one of his co-workers, whose brother-in-law was a plumber or in construction or something, to look over the list of materials and see if the quote was fair. And right off the bat, DB was trying to do close to a 50% markup on the materials. So instead of paying DB's invoice, my dad just bought all the materials himself, saying he knows a guy who gives him amazing discounts. So DB doesn't get suspicious that my dad was onto his game. After 3 months, the bathroom is not close to being done despite DB telling him it would take 2 months. My dad had to travel for work and would be gone in a week, so he asked me to house sit and make sure DB shows up to work and does not steal stuff. Right off the bat, DB tries to be all buddy-buddy with me, but I did not like the guy and just brushed him off, asking how the bathroom was coming. Over the course of the week, DB tried to upsell me on a bunch of things he said needed to be done to finish the bathroom. Most of it was electrical work which he did not have a license for. My dad filled me in before he left about what was quoted in labor, and there was no electrical work quoted, and I told him no, just stick to the original quote. Once my dad came back, I filled him in on all the additional charges DB tried to tack on. He also did not show up for 3 days, saying he hurt his shoulder, tripping over his cat. Then he tried to install the new ceiling light, which was not asked to install because we had an electrician come in to install it. After a heated discussion between DB and I, he stopped installing the ceiling light and started laying tile, during which he broke a quarter of the tiles. After this debacle, my dad did some investigating and looked up DB's license and found out that not only was the license expired, it did not belong to DB. So my dad asked my brother and I to come over when he was going to confront DB about lying about his license. A very heated argument broke out when my dad refused to let DB enter the house to collect his tool and said we would bring the tools out to him. DB then threatened to press charges against me for assault when I accidentally brushed his shoulder when I was passing him in the hallway, and I refused to apologize. After the cops showed up, DB quickly tried to play the victim, but the cops told DB to collect his tools and leave. The bathroom was still unfinished, but my dad did not have to pay DB for his 3 months of labor and used that money to hire real contractors to finish the bathroom. It only took them a week and a half to finish. After this, my dad contacted the local news to tell them about DB being a conman. A few months later, the news did an investigative story about him, and they found other people DB scammed. Where DB would start to work on their bathroom, but once he got paid, he would cut and run, leaving the bathroom unfinished and stealing all the materials. The news then set up a sting for DB and exposed him for being a conman, and then he was arrested not long after the news story aired. Hold up, team, if you're loving these stories and want more, smash that like button and share your own wild experiences in the comments. Your support keeps this channel going, so don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Quick, easy, and keeps you in the loop for all of our future adventures. Now back to the stories. This happened years ago when I worked in a major city as a paramedic. There were numerous hotels that were converted into a cross between Section 8 welfare housing and homeless shelters. These places were like magnets for medical issues because the people there did not take care of themselves and used the ambulances and emergency rooms like doctors. We get a call there, potential heart attack, and get our escort. Staff from the shelter always came with us to show us where the room was and assist us. As we approach the elevators, there are 2 on the floor and open, so I say, hold the elevator. In one, someone looked at us and shrugged. In the other, the guy stuck his head out and said, take the next one. I'm in a hurry. Okay, no problem. I pull out my keyring, check the fire access key type, and insert said key. It brings all the elevators to the ground floor. PD has now joined us and Mr. In a Hurry is looking like what the hell just happened. My partner yells, everyone out, you can use the stairs. Mr. In a Hurry says he ain't getting out. So PD says, are you deaf or stupid? Get out. So he finally exits and says, what do I do now? My partner says, the stairs work. You're in a hurry. We get in the elevator and our escort says, that was the most awesome thing I have ever seen. We held the elevators for 20 minutes and left with our patient. Mr. In a Hurry was waiting for us, and the escort told him if he says one word, he will be thrown out. Quick explanation of how the fire key works. You insert the key and turn it to emergency service. You then take the key out, and all the elevators return to the ground floor. You take your elevator and insert the key in that keyhole and can make the elevator an express elevator, and it will stay on whatever floor you are on. When you're done, turn it back to regular service in the elevator and then back to the main fire service one. The main fire service one is only on the ground floor. So my mom's friend came around the other day and she brought her 8-year-old son. For my birthday, I got 2 glass cups. They have a skull-like molded into them and a lid with a straw. It's hard to explain, but they are cool. So I was showing them off to the kid, and he asked if he could drink out of one. I told him he could, if he was careful. At this time, my mom left to go to a doctor's appointment. He took it into the kitchen, where he had his mom make a drink for him. When I came in about 5 minutes later, I saw that he had made a hot drink, which is a no-no for these cups. I was in the middle of trying to tell the kid and the entitled parent that this would break them when it started to crack. I was really annoyed. But it's just a cup. Not the end of the world, you know? I had another one. Then the kid cut his finger on the cracked part, and he started crying, causing the entitled parent to start having a go at me. How dare you give my son a dangerous cup? After a bit of arguing, I am too mentally exhausted to go into the details, she eventually said, "Get him the other one then." I didn't mind letting him borrow my other one, because I assumed they learned their lesson and wouldn't pour boiling water into it. But nope. I gave them the cup, told them only cold drinks, and left, because I didn't want to be around an angry entitled mom. Next thing I know, I hear a loud smash, and the entitled parent comes in screaming at me how the cup broke, and that I should have warned her that they weren't made for heat. I did though. I pushed past her into the kitchen and realized the smash I had heard was her throwing the cup at the wall. I pushed past her into the kitchen and realized the smash I had heard was her throwing the cup at the wall. Did I go to my room and phone the police because there was a violent woman in my house and I felt threatened? Yes, I did. Was she made to leave the property? Yes, she was. Did she shove one of the policemen on her way out? Yes, she did. Did this get her arrested? Yes, it did. Sorry if this is worded weirdly. I'm kind of on a high from this. She ain't gonna mess with my cups anymore. The kid was okay, by the way. His cut healed in a few minutes, but whilst the commotion with the entitled parent getting arrested was going on, I got him one of those Thomas the Tank Engine plasters. No, I don't know why we have those, and he seemed fairly happy afterwards. Backstory. Me, my girlfriend, and a few of my friends and their girlfriends decide to go to the local pool. We are all 13 to 14, so our relationships aren't that serious. One of my friend's girlfriend broke up with him later that year. And so my mom, my dad, previously in the army and is a mechanic on heavy equipment, friend's mom and dad, a police officer, and my girlfriend's dad all went. My mom always told me to carry around some means of perfection. A prized pocket knife given to me by my grandfather, which happened to be a fidget spinner, and no, I did not bring it to the school, and I'll add an image if I can get my parents to let me borrow their computer. So we all went to the pool and we saw a kid everyone hates, and so we moved away from him. And because this is a fairly large pool, we can easily do that. Now, I hate large bodies of water, can swim well, and stay away from pools when I can. But my girlfriend begged me, so I went, not planning on getting into the pool, but I wore my swim trunks anyway. Let's take a look at the cast. There's the entitled stepmother, I didn't know she was his stepmom at the time. Jay, the entitled child of the story, his first name starts with a J, and he also started the fight with me, giving me a concussion, making my hatred toward him skyrocket. F, male friend whose name starts with an F. Z, my friend whose name starts with a Z. N, female friend whose name starts with N, also Z's girlfriend at the time. R, female friend whose name starts with an R, usually non-confrontational, important for later. Me, also very non-violent or confrontational, usually. So we were at the other side of the pool, so him getting to us was no accident. Jay walks over to us, looks at me with a devilish grin, and then proceeds to molest my girlfriend as I'm asking him what he wants. My girlfriend slaps Jay's hand away and screams, "Get away from me, you perv!" This gets everyone's attention, and he leaps back into the water and swims away as fast as possible. I get pissed, but I can't do anything. I was also playing with my fidget knife thing, and at this point, no one knew it was a knife. A few minutes later, Jay comes back and again tries to grab her, but at this point I stand up. Might I add that I was now taller than him? Because I grew a lot that summer and he hadn't seen me up until that point, so I told him to go away. I'm at school at the time of this post, so I might take a while to get the whole thing up, but here goes. Jay leaps into the pool and swims back to his mom. I thought this was over, but boy was I wrong. About 10 minutes later, Jay actually came back, tried again to touch my girlfriend, and I was done. I stand up and tell him to leave, or else he'd get what was coming to him. "Oh, and what can you do, huh?" he asks. I flip out the knife part of my fidget knife. "I can stab you, if that's what you like." This catches my friend's attention and they just stare confused. "You can't do that. It's illegal." F's dad, a police officer but he was off duty, says, "Yes, he can. It's called defense of a third party," he says, not looking up. Jay, now looking scared, runs back to his mom. After a while, everyone except me and my mom gets in the pool, and Jay and the entitled mother decides to pick that moment to come back. And the entitled mother starts to berate me for standing up to Jay. I stand up yet again and have R get out of the pool. R says, "Max, give me the knife." Again, she isn't usually mean or confrontational, but she looked pissed. So I obliged, and the entitled mother decided to throw me in the pool. Now I hate large bodies of water and fear them, as drowning is my worst fear and phobia. I immediately freak out and start sinking. It was a deep end. Somehow, because I don't actually remember, but through a rush of anger, fear, and adrenaline, I got back up, and by this time, the rest of my group was back out of the pool, and my girlfriend's dad was holding my mom back from killing the entitled mother and the kid. Before you ask, my girlfriend's dad knew about the knife prior and was well aware of what I was willing to do if need be. And while I got out of the pool choking and coughing up water, F had got security and girlfriend was holding R back from killing the entitled mother. Why? Good question. Just as security arrived, Jay and the entitled mother started to physically attack me. And as I got up and back, I almost broke my hand hitting Jay. The security then detained the entitled mother and Jay, and F's dad had called the police. And Jay and the entitled mother had tried to argue that I had threatened Jay, and then the entitled mother had tried to protect Jay. Too bad there were many witnesses and security footage, and Jay was arrested by the same cop for stealing something from another person, not involving me. The entitled mother hadn't known about it when Jay gave me a concussion a year ago and turned pearl white when my mom had told her. We pressed charges and Jay went to court. He was convicted, but his mom claimed bias on the officer. So, the charges were set to be enforced when he became an adult. I had no clue that could happen, but apparently it can. And that's a wrap for today's episode of K-Korner. I hope these stories have entertained you, maybe even made you think a bit. Life's a wild ride full of unexpected twists, and we're here to share those moments with you. Thank you for joining me today, and if you liked what you heard, please show your support with a like and a comment. Your feedback means the world to me. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories, and remember to keep it light, fun, and easygoing. Until next time, this is Crown, signing off.